6 golden habits that keep you young. After 50, discover the secrets to healthy aging and long life. Have you ever watched the steam rise from your morning cup of tea, quiet, familiar, steady, while your joints ache and your breath feels shorter than it did a few years ago? You pause, just for a second, wondering if this is what getting older really feels like. Not in a dramatic way, but in the small things, the way your legs feel heavier on the stairs, how your thoughts don't move quite as fast, how the days blur together a little more easily. I've sat across from many patients in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, all asking me the same quiet question in different words. Is it too late for me to feel good again? And my answer, spoken gently but firmly, is always this: it's never too late. But it starts with the habits we choose starting now. In this conversation just between you and me, I want to walk you through 6 simple, deeply human habits that I've seen transform lives. Not magic, not pills, just real, small choices rooted in science and practiced with compassion. So take a deep breath. Friend, let's explore them together. This might be the quiet turning point you've been waiting for. Let's begin. Part 1. Walking the gentle power of putting one foot in front of the other. There's a quiet kind of power in walking. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it simply asks, "Will you meet me today?" And for so many of my older patients, that simple question becomes the difference between fading and flourishing. You see, our bodies were never designed for stillness. They were made to move gently, rhythmically, purposefully. And yet, after 60, movement often feels like a burden. Knees hurt, energy fades, a walk around the block turns into a chore. But here's something I've learned in over 2 decades of practice: walking is not just about moving your legs, it's about reclaiming your life. Let me tell you about Mr. Harold, 76, a former school bus driver. He used to say, "Doc, I feel like I'm walking through mud." His blood pressure was creeping up, his back was stiff, and he hadn't taken a walk in months. We didn't start with marathons. We started with 5 minutes, just 5 out to the mailbox and back. Day by day, that walk grew. Today, he does a full mile each morning, no cane, no struggle. And the best part, he told me, I feel like myself again. Science backs this up. Studies from Harvard and the NIH show that a brisk 30-minute walk can lower your risk of heart disease by up to 40%. That's not a small number. That's more years to hold your grandchild, more mornings to wake up without pain. But even beyond the heart, walking heals the mind. It boosts blood flow to the brain, sharpens memory, and lifts mood sometimes more effectively than medication. And it doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be long. What matters is that it's yours. A slow walk after dinner, a gentle stroll in the garden, even pacing during commercials while watching the evening news. Every step says, "I'm here. I'm not giving up." If you've been feeling stuck, tired, or uncertain, walking can be your first yes to life again. No gym, no equipment, just your body, your breath, and your willingness. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee brews, slip on your shoes, step outside, feel the earth beneath your feet, and walk not to race the years, but to greet them with strength, grace, and quiet joy. Part 2. Eat to nourish, not just to fill. There's something sacred about a meal, especially in our later years. The clink of a spoon, the warmth of a bowl, the comfort of something familiar. But somewhere along the line, food quietly changed. It stopped being nourishment and started being convenience. I've seen it too often: toast in the morning, frozen dinners at night, a handful of crackers in between. It's easy. It's fast. But here's the hard truth I gently share with my patients. Fast food leads to a fast fade. Real food sustains real life. As we age, our bodies need more support, not less. The systems that once worked effortlessly, our digestion, our joints, our immune defenses now need a helping hand. And that hand starts at the end of your fork. Take my patient, Elaine. She's 68, a widow, living alone in Missouri. For years, meals were microwaved or skipped. She was tired, her knees ached, her blood sugar spiked. One day, she sat across from me and said, "I feel like I'm wearing down." I looked at her and asked a simple question. What if your food became your medicine? So we started small, adding a handful of spinach to her eggs, a side of roasted carrots at lunch, a fresh apple after dinner. Within months, her labs improved. But more than that, her eyes lit up again. She told me, "It feels like color is coming back into my life." Here's what science tells us. Leafy greens like kale and collards strengthen bones. Fatty fish like salmon protect your brain. Whole grains stabilize energy and hydration. It's the hidden hero. As we age, our thirst fades, but our cells still cry for water. So the next time you open your fridge, ask gently, "Is this food healing me or harming me?" You don't need perfection. You need presence. Choose the apple over the bag of chips. Choose a glass of water over soda. Cook something that smells like your childhood. Your body will recognize it. It remembers. This isn't about restriction. It's about intention. It's about giving your older self the same love you once gave your children, with care, with thought, with joy. So tonight, make one meal that matters. Let it be simple. Let it be real. Let it remind you that every bite can be a step toward strength, clarity, and a life that still has so much to savor. Part 3. Train your mind. Like a garden. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you came in? Stood at the fridge, searching for something you can't name. You smile and shake it off. Just one of those days, you tell yourself, but deep down, a quiet worry settles in. Is my mind slipping? You're not alone. Memory, focus, sharpness. These are the treasures we fear losing most as we age. But here's what I want you to hear today. Gently but clearly, your brain is not fading. It's waiting. Waiting for you to tend to it, like a garden that still longs to grow. Think of your mind like rich soil. If you feed it, stretch it, water it with curiosity, it blooms. If you neglect it, it withers. And no, it doesn't take fancy apps or crossword puzzles you dread. It takes something more powerful: attention and joy. One of my patients, Frank, 72, told me after retirement he felt his days blur together. He started misplacing names, losing track of time. Instead of retreating, he took a small leap. He picked up his guitar from the attic. "I hadn't touched it in 30 years, he said. But now it's like each string wakes something up in me. His mood lifted, his focus returned. And most importantly, he felt alive. Science agrees. Mental stimulation like reading, learning a language, or picking up an old hobby builds new neural connections. Even in your 70s and beyond, the brain is wonderfully plastic. It wants to grow. It just needs a reason. And here's a secret: conversation is one of the most underrated brain exercises we have. When you talk, really talk with someone, your brain listens, responds, adapts. It's a dance of memory, emotion, and presence. So I ask you softly, what is one thing your mind misses doing? Reading bedtime stories, painting, playing dominoes with old friends. Go do it. Not because you're fighting decline, but because you're nurturing a garden that still blooms. Aging doesn't mean the mind must dim, but it does mean we must choose daily to keep it lit. Part 4. Preserve your strength. Preserve your dignity. 450 words. Have you ever hesitated before standing up from a chair just to be sure your knees won't betray you, or reached for a railing not because you needed it, but because you weren't sure you didn't? These little moments, we don't talk about them often, but for many of my older patients, they whisper something deeper. Am I losing control of my body? Here's what I tell them. And now I tell you, it's not age that steals our strength, it's inactivity. And we can do something about that. There's a condition called sarcopenia, the slow, silent loss of muscle that begins as early as our 40s and speeds up after 60. It's not painful. It doesn't come with flashing warnings. But over time, it quietly takes away our steadiness, our energy, and eventually our independence. But here's the hope: you can stop it, even reverse it. Not with gym memberships or heavy weights, just with simple resistance movements, done consistently. Let me tell you about Ruth, 75, once a dancer. Now a grandmother with arthritic knees. She came to me after a fall, ashamed and afraid. We didn't talk about getting fit, we talked about getting steady. We began with gentle wall push-ups, sitting and standing from a chair 5 times, lifting canned beans in each hand, and week after week, she grew stronger. Not in appearance, but in spirit. She could open jars again, walk unassisted, dance a little. One day she smiled and said, "I feel like my body listens to me again." That's what strength is about, not muscle for the mirror, but movement with dignity. The National Institute on Aging confirms it. Resistance training twice a week improves balance, bone density, and prevents falls, one of the most serious risks for older adults. Because one fall can take months to recover from, or sometimes you don't. So I gently encourage you. Start small, but start now. Use the counter for support while doing heel lifts. Sit and stand 10 times after breakfast. Lift a water bottle while watching TV. Your body isn't asking for perfection, it's asking for partnership. And every small act of strength you build today becomes a shield for tomorrow. Not just so you can move better, but so you can keep choosing your own path, your own pace, your own life on your own terms. Part 5. Connect to heal. The hidden power of belonging. There's a certain silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It lingers after the kids move away, after your partner is gone, after friends drift, one by one. It's the kind of silence that doesn't just echo in the room, it echoes in your bones. One afternoon, my patient Linda, 78, sat across from me with tears in her eyes. "I eat well, I walk, I even stretch before bed," she said, "but I still feel hollow." And I knew exactly what she meant, because no vitamin, no exercise, no sleep can replace the healing that comes from human connection. Loneliness isn't just emotional, it's biological. Chronic loneliness increases inflammation, raises your blood pressure, weakens your immune system, and speeds up memory loss. The data is clear. Feeling isolated can shorten your life as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But the good news, healing starts with something as simple as hearing someone say your name. After that visit, Linda joined a local quilting circle at her church. Nothing fancy, just fabric, stories, and laughter. Within weeks, her mood lifted. She started sleeping better. Her blood pressure improved. I didn't realize how much I missed being seen, she told me. And that's the heart of it. We all want to be seen, heard, needed, and even in our later years, especially in our later years, those needs don't fade, they deepen. So I ask you gently, who have you lost touch with? Who might be sitting alone right now, hoping someone will call? And if you feel that loneliness yourself, please, don't wait for someone to knock. Connection doesn't have to be big or noisy. It can be a phone call, a walk with a neighbor, A shared pot of tea with an old friend. It can be joining a book club, volunteering at the local garden, or simply saying hello at the library. Your presence, your voice is medicine, not just for others, but for you. Because when we connect, our brain releases oxytocin, our stress hormones fall, and our joy rises. We remember that we belong, that we matter. And that, my friend, is the truest kind of healing. Part 6. Sleep, the silent architect of longevity. Some nights, it's not pain that keeps you awake, it's your thoughts. The worry about your health, the echo of a lost voice, the ache of a memory that won't fade. You lie there in the quiet, watching the hours slip by, and wonder, why can't I sleep like I used to? If this feels familiar, know this: you're not broken. You're human. And as a doctor, I want to tell you something we forget far too often. Sleep isn't just rest, it's repair, and it's essential. After 60, our sleep patterns naturally shift. We become lighter sleepers, more easily awakened, and sometimes struggle to fall back asleep, but that doesn't mean we need to give up on deep, healing rest. It means we need to protect it gently and intentionally. Michael, 67, was one of my most disciplined patients. He ate well, walked daily, took his medications faithfully, but every time he came in, he looked exhausted. He told me, "I sleep, but I don't feel restored." So we made one change, a wind-down routine. No screens after 8. A warm bath, soft music, reading instead of scrolling. Within weeks, his blood pressure dropped, his mood lifted, and his focus returned. Why? Because during deep sleep, your body does its most important work. Your brain flushes toxins, your heart rate resets, your immune system recharges, and your memory consolidates. It's like giving your entire system a nightly tune-up. And here's the thing: without quality sleep, even your best habits begin to fray. Good food isn't digested as well. Exercise feels harder. Loneliness feels heavier. Everything becomes just a little more difficult. So let me offer you a few soft invitations. Dim the lights after dinner. Keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and dark. Avoid caffeine late in the day and drink your last glass of water a couple of hours before bed. Instead of fighting sleep, create space for it. Not as an afterthought, but as an act of self-respect. Think of your sleep as the most sacred appointment on your calendar. Not because you're weak, but because you are wise enough to know that rest is strength. When you protect your nights, your days become brighter. When you sleep well, you live well. And you, dear friend, deserve both. So here we are, you and I, at the quiet end of this conversation. We've walked together through 6 simple habits, gentle, grounded, deeply human. They weren't grand promises, they weren't quick fixes, they were reminders. Reminders that even after 60, 70, 80, your life is not winding down, it's unfolding. And the truth that holds all of this together is simple. You don't need to reverse time, you just need to honor it. When you walk, you tell your body, "I'm still here." When you eat real food, you whisper, "I care for you." When you challenge your mind, you remind it there's more to learn. When you build strength, you reclaim, "This is still my life." When you connect, you say, "I still matter." And when you sleep, deeply and gently, you offer this gift: "Let me begin again tomorrow." You don't need to do everything. You don't need to do it all at once, but please choose one thing. Just one. Maybe a walk after dinner. Maybe calling someone you've missed. Maybe turning off the TV early tonight and resting without guilt. Because the life you're still living, it deserves that care. You deserve that care, and if this message touched something inside you, share it with a friend, a sibling, A neighbor who's quietly wondering if it's too late for them. 2. Let them know. No, it's not too late. It's never too late. Not to feel strong, not to feel whole, not to feel alive. I'm honored to be here with you on this journey. Take good care, dear friend. Until next time.